The air at Ace Auto Solutions was thick with the scent of synthetic oil and Mitch's overpowering cologne. Mrs. Clara Henderson, a neat, elderly woman, waited by her impeccably maintained, yet currently sputtering, 1974 Jaguar E-Type. Mitch, the service manager, emerged from the pit, carrying a flashlight and a cloud of superiority. He dropped the hood with a heavy thud, making Mrs. Henderson jump. "All right, ma'am," Mitch began, leaning his weight against the fender, a gesture of casual disrespect. "You've got a beautiful machine here, but it's definitely showing its age. This isn't just a stutter." Mrs. Henderson looked worried. "Oh my, what is it? It was running perfectly until this morning." Mitch sighed dramatically, running a hand through his gelled hair. "It's a cascade failure. Technically, we've got severe carbon buildup clogging the fuel injectors, which is starving the engine. That vibration is coming from a failing engine mount, and the entire ignition timing system needs to be recalibrated, a specialized job. And of course, the primary cause of your intermittent power loss is this loose, corroded battery terminal." He pointed to the terminal, which had been intentionally loosened just enough to cause a mild, intermittent fault. "This is serious stuff, ma'am. These classic jobs require specialized knowledge, and if you keep driving it, you could seize the engine." He slid a tablet toward her. "I've itemized the parts and labor. We're looking at $1,725.50. We can get started now, and have you running better than new by Friday. I'll even skip the diagnostic fee for you." Mrs. Henderson's hand trembled slightly as she took the tablet. $1,700. That is quite a bit. Are you absolutely certain about these issues? The carbon, the engine mount, the timing?" "Ma'am," Mitch replied, his voice dripping with condescension, "I've been working on engines since you were still using leaded gas. Trust me, it's a miracle it hasn't broken down completely. Sign right here to authorize the full repair." Mrs. Henderson tapped the screen with a stylus, authorizing the quote. "Thank you, Mitch. That is a great relief. Before you start, could you just confirm something for me? I need this full list of required repairs, signed by you, stating that these are all critical to the car's current operation and safety." Mitch, eager to secure the massive bill and dismiss the troublesome elderly customer, printed the detailed quote and signed it with a heavy flourish. "Guaranteed, ma'am. All critical." "Wonderful," Mrs. Henderson said, smoothly tucking the signed paper into her coat pocket. The look of distress instantly evaporated, replaced by cold, professional clarity. She clicked her fingers twice, the small, sharp sound cutting through the thick garage noise. From the customer waiting area, a tall man in a plain suit, who had been quietly reading a newspaper, stood up and walked over. He looked like an accountant, but his eyes were sharp and focused. "Mitch, allow me to introduce Mr. David Sterling, a licensed private investigator," Mrs. Henderson said, her voice now firm, authoritative, and profoundly accusatory. "And that corroded, loose battery terminal you pointed to. Mr. Sterling planted that fault with a loose nut and a dab of grease 3 hours ago. We brought the car in specifically with one known minor issue, which you correctly identified, but the Jaguar is otherwise in perfect mechanical and electrical condition. The only thing failing here is your integrity, and your attempt at fraud." Mitch gaped, the signed repair order in his hand, suddenly feeling less like a commission slip and more like a prison sentence. The blood drained instantly from his face, leaving only pale, stark patches where his expensive cologne could not mask the sudden sweat. "The $1,725.50 quote you just signed confirms multiple, completely unnecessary repairs, a non-existent engine mount failure, a fictitious carbon buildup that would require significant disassembly to truly diagnose, and a complete ignition timing job that this car's computerized system has no need for." Mrs. Henderson continued, pulling out a sleek, modern cell phone. "We brought the car here specifically because the Better Business Bureau referred our case to the State Attorney General's office, following over 20 recent complaints about your business practices and massive, unwarranted repair bills." She put the phone to her ear, never once taking her eyes off Mitch. "I was not the victim of your scam, Mitch. I was the bait, sent in by the Regional Consumer Protection Task Force. Into the phone, she said, clearly and concisely. Yes, this is Clara Henderson. I need to report a clear, irrefutable case of attempted fraud by the service manager. Mitch, at Ace Auto Solutions. Location 143 North Main. We have a signed repair authorization for over $1,700 of unnecessary work on a classic vehicle and a licensed witness. The evidence is secured, and we have the manager's full, signed confession to the necessity of the fraudulent repairs. She paused, letting the information sink into the silence of the suddenly attentive garage. The mechanics in the pit stopped working, watching the scene unfold. Mrs. Henderson hung up, the small click of the phone closing serving as a final, professional verdict. She looked at Mitch, whose face was now the exact color of the grease on the floor. You condescended to me, Mitch. You exploited my assumed ignorance, and you attempted to steal from me and my family, Mrs. Henderson concluded, stepping back and gesturing for Mr. Sterling to confirm the Jaguar's readiness. The state police and the consumer protection team will be here shortly to initiate receivership and investigation of the business's full records. True service, Mitch, is about fixing actual problems, not creating expensive, fraudulent ones. And you, my friend, just created a massive professional problem for yourself. Mr. Sterling calmly walked to the Jaguar's hood, tightened the battery terminal, and gave the car a quick, confirming glance. The Jaguar gave a brief, perfectly tuned roar, running smoothly.